make a quick reaction video to some news I saw come out this morning about the VR headset space in 2022, um, citing how it may impact Meta's future, Meta's bet on the metaverse and Reality Labs. So let's just go through this information quickly. It was reported that headset sales for VR headsets in the US actually went down 2% in 2022 versus 2021. Lots of this was driven by a weaker holiday season. Last year, there were lots of supply chain issues with Xboxes, PlayStations, other conventional gaming gifts. So lots of volume moved into VR headsets. So total sales was 1.1 billion on the year, which was, let's call it flat versus a year ago. So overall, I'd say that's pretty disappointing, especially when you consider that's sales and volume looks like it was even lower than that by 12%. So under 10 million headsets sold versus about 11 million the year before. This is just a big ongoing blow to the future prospects of Reality Labs and Meta's metaverse bets as they keep sinking more and more money into this part of their business. If we go over to their segment information after Q3, they lost $10 billion in 9 months. So let's scale that up to about $12 billion a year after losing $7 billion in the first 9 months of 2021. So they're into this, $20-30 billion just over the last 2 years after this year is reported. And with that, they've built a business that does probably after this quarter close to $2 billion a year in revenue, which is losing $12 billion a year. So I know lots of it's being invested for the future, but I think it's time to question, what is that future growth? What is the future outlook 5 years out, 10 years out, if we're already stagnating in 2022, let alone 2025, 2030, 2040. So I'm just seeing this become increasingly clear that this is not going to be a high return on invested capital project. The net present value of these investments are clearly not the best allocation of capital. And this is essentially just turning into more and more of a pet project. I do own Meta shares. I own them since 2017, I think. So I haven't been a huge fan of this pivot, this direction. And even if this direction was what the company thought was best, I don't think this level of spend is appropriate, frankly. So I'm hoping that behind news like this that we saw come out today, behind the fact that based off of Q4 being really weak versus a year ago, Reality Labs will likely come in negative on the year, which is crazy given the growth rates they've kind of assumed on a long-term basis, 5 years out, 10 years out. I really hope that they at least start to lower their focus or lower their absolute investment dollars, scale it out over more years at least to increase the profitability of the company now, because they really do need it on their ads business. And at the valuation they're trading at, I'd much rather any of these dollars go into buybacks or building out other opportunities on their ads business versus being burned in Reality Labs, given where I think this will realistically be in 5 years. The other thing worth noting here is Apple's looking to get into the headset game probably in 2023. So while they'll probably expand the category a bit, Meta's probably going to lose a lot of market share here. Honestly, it's not something that from a profitability standpoint should hurt them very much because they're not profitable today. But it's still I just wish that the company wasn't playing here as aggressively. I think they should be allocating this capital differently. From a valuation standpoint, this is essentially siphoning off 1/3 of the company's earnings just on the money they're losing on Reality Labs, which is like 2% of their overall revenue. So just crazy. And I don't see where it's going in the short term, medium term, or like reasonably long term. So I think this stock, with just their core advertising business, um, if I just back out Reality Labs, would be making, $13, $14 a share, could be trading at a 15 times multiple. So I think the stock could be a $200 stock overnight if they just pared back investments or deprioritize Reality Labs. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll do that, but I'm still holding on to the business and the stock because I do believe in their core operation. I just hope that that becomes more focal, like it should be, to the overall company's objectives given the size of the business it is. So that's my thoughts on kind of VR headset sales, reaffirming some of the thoughts I've had on Meta going into that space as aggressively as they did, and hopefully for, in my opinion, for Meta shareholders, they kind of look at the writing on the wall and right size their focus, their investment in this space. With that being said, would love to hear anyone else's opinion here. If there's any other Meta shareholders or people who follow this space, please leave a comment below. Consider liking the video, subscribing the video, would really help me out a lot.